What is up, guys? Rick Cacus here, and in this video we are going to be talking about a weapon that absolutely crushes in Destiny 2 Beta's PvP. Now, something I really want to do in this beta is to showcase some of my favorite weapons, so that myself and you guys can have kind of a better understanding of the Destiny 2 weapon system, and also so that hopefully you can get some tips or ideas for what guns to use to improve your performance in PvP or PvE. This time around, we're definitely dedicated more to PvP. I played a lot of Crucible yesterday, and I was using basically mostly this. Heck, once I put it on, I couldn't take it off, was really the problem going on there. Now, pulse rifles in the D2 Crucible are seeing a decent amount of play, but, I don't want to say that they're the meta, because, frankly, everything is pretty meta. That's one of the things I've been most impressed with the Destiny 2 Crucible, is that I see a good amount of auto rifles, and hand cannons, and scout rifles, and pulse rifles. Everything seems to be viable and usable in the Crucible, which is definitely an improvement over Destiny 1. I'm sure you guys would agree. But the specific pulse rifle we're talking about today is the Nergal Pr4. This is an Omolon elemental pulse rifle. Mine was void. I assume all of the other ones will be void as well. This pulse rifle is essentially a fully automatic hawksaw. Now, it's a little bit difficult to compare the Destiny 1 archetypes with the Destiny 2 archetypes because there are so many differences, but that's what this gun really does feel like. You're going to be doing 21 damage to the head and 14 damage to the body within your optimal range. So once enemies get pretty far away, you'll start eventually sloping down lower than that. So assuming most Guardians are running around with 200 health, that means that this weapon is capable of being a 4-burst kill if you land your headshots. Heck, even without landing all your headshots, because you do 21 damage, which is a little bit overkill, you can slip in a body shot or two and still reach that optimal time to kill. So let's go over this weapon's perks and the setup I use. Firstly, we have the intrinsic perk Lightweight Frame. This improves handling and makes you move a little bit faster when using this weapon. Just like in Destiny 1, this perk feels average. It definitely is an advantage over not having it, but there are other better intrinsic perks out there. Next up, we have two sights, the Torch HS3, and then we have the Flash HS5. I use the Torch because it improves the range. You do lose a little bit of handling, but you don't need higher handling than when you already have. Your handling is already excellent. I want to improve that range. Moving on from there, we have two choices between steady rounds and then we have ricochet rounds. And in this case, the choice is really up to you. Ricochet rounds increases the range by a decent amount, lowers the stability a little bit, and steady rounds is going to do the opposite. I went with steady rounds because I really value stability in pulse rifles. You need to be landing your shots. You can have all the range you want, but if you're bouncing above someone's head or getting a bunch of body shots because you don't have that stability, it won't matter. So I felt like the range was good enough for what I wanted to do, so I wanted more stability. That's my personal opinion. It would be totally acceptable to go the other route, get a bigger increase in range and lower the stability by just a little bit. That's kind of one of the good things about the Destiny 2 weapon system. People are going to be running around with this same exact pulse rifle with these two different perks on, both having a legitimate reason for doing so, and both making their guns a little bit different in terms of gameplay and where they function best. But moving on from there, the final perk is Full Auto Trigger System. It does what it says on the can. It makes this weapon fully automatic, and that's going to add an unbelievable degree of consistency. Being able to hold that trigger and get potentially the maximum time to kill every single time, removing any sort of human error from the equation, is just so good. So I love full auto trigger system, but the best part is that this weapon is just fantastic even without it. You're getting a weapon that totes incredible stability and incredible handling just in the base stats. So you have an overall great pulse rifle with fantastic stats that is also fully automatic, making it so user-friendly. Now, one of the key differences between the Destiny 1 Crucible and the Destiny 2 Crucible is, well, the lack of the Icebreaker sniper rifle and sticky grenades and just bullshittery in general. But aside from that, the main difference is everything in Destiny 2 feels like it's slowed down. There's a longer time to kill for pretty much everything. You know, it seems like you have more health and or weapons do less damage. It does take a little bit longer to take people out. That's combined with lowering the effectiveness of abilities by a ton, lowering how fast you recharge these abilities and especially your super and all of that stuff. And I'm not necessarily saying that's all good stuff. I'm sure some of you guys watching don't appreciate some of those changes, and I'm sure when the full game comes out, some of those things will be tweaked definitely. But I mentioned that because this weapon, using this pulse rifle, is the closest I've come to having a weapon that feels like it belongs in Destiny 1. It's very fast shooting, it's very consistent, especially with full auto, and it takes people down fast. It doesn't feel like you're shooting over and over and over again to try to take people down. It feels like you can poke around a corner, get those pulse rifle bursts off, and then boom, the guy's dead very fast. And that's why I really love using this pulse. However, if you do try out this pulse rifle, which I highly recommend, that's basically why I'm making this video, to talk about the gun system and to showcase a sweet piece of loot that you guys should be aware of. But if you do use this gun, it's a pulse rifle. It's going to function very well at those medium to long range engagements. So you don't want to be running this in combination with another kinetic pulse rifle or a scout rifle or something like that. You're going to want to run this in combination with a closer range kinetic weapon. This handles the long range, and then your close range kinetic handles close range. You don't want two long range weapons. And so what I would recommend is, I think it's called the Showrunner or the Showstopper. It's a kinetic Vanguard SMG that has like 900 rounds per minute, 40 rounds in a magazine, and just shreds up close. That's the kind of gun that works great in combination with this pulse rifle. And finally, it is really nice to see Omolon pulse rifles after 3 years. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, found it interesting. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content, be sure to slap that subscribe button. And if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.